Hello once again, everybody. There you are. Here I am. Been saying that one for years. And once again, I still don't really know where the camera is on this tablet. So if it looks like I'm looking off into space or looking at Elvis or out the window, you know why. But I want to pick up with episode 4 of the Karaoke Chronicles. Last week we talked about Joe T's Pub and Billiards, and I was going to call this next episode the In-Betweeners, but then I thought, well, in between what? Maybe I explained it there and don't remember? I don't know. But I think a better name for these places I'm about to talk to are places that were short-lived. I went to karaoke there for whatever span of time, whether it be a couple weeks, a couple months, maybe a year. Although I think a lot of them were probably under a year, and then there were a couple that I did return to, at least one or two that I returned to again later on. So without further ado, let's talk about those places and where I was at that time. Still going to Joe T's Pub and Billiards, of course, because that was like my Sunday night, Tuesday night, and then ultimately Thursday night destination. But if you rewind a little bit, before the Tuesday and Thursday were added in 1995, and ultimately moving to Bridgewater, like I said, in 1996, I would end up exploring some other places in southeastern Massachusetts that had karaoke. And I mentioned the Riviera Cafe on Route 18 in Bridgewater, and that was once again a place that my good friend and mentor Carl Bach did the karaoke on Thursday nights. And before the Joe T's opportunity for me came along, I would often pop into the Riv on Thursday nights, and Carl would do it on Sunday nights too. But if he was at Joe T's, he would commission somebody else to do the show on Sunday at the Riv, whether it be his girlfriend at the time or one of these other guys that he had working for him, like Ronnie D is a name that comes to mind. Don't ask me his last name, I just always knew him as Ronnie D. But it was the Bridgewater area, basically, is where I found some of these other places. And some of those places include, in addition to the Riv, not a lot of stories to tell about the Riv. I mentioned an old buddy of mine, Higgins, Harley Davidson enthusiast that I used to hang out with over there. And Dave Nault, his friend Dave Nault, they used to host a TV show on Bridgewater Public Access Cable called Where My Two Wheels Take Me, about the biker culture, so to speak. But if you go up Route 18 a little bit into the town of Whitman, Massachusetts, there was a wonderful little place on Route 18 called Skip Sergio's. Not only for karaoke and reasonably priced beer, that's pretty much all I really ever drank at that time when I would go out on these social occasions, but good food as well. Skip Sergio's always had some very good food. And John LeBou was the name of the karaoke disc jockey that they had on a Friday night, I think it was, because they had actually karaoke almost every night at Skip Sergio's. And they had, like John LeBou would do it on a couple different nights. And then there was a young lady, Brenda, who did it on a couple nights. I would go to their shows. Then there was another guy whose name I can never remember. But I remember he was a good guy, good karaoke host, good DJ. And he introduced me to Goldschlager. And that was short-lived. That was even shorter-lived than the places I'm talking about today. If you know, you know. But it was a nice little place owned by a guy named Skip Sergio, big shock. But a family-owned place, and again, good food, good atmosphere, and it was a lot of regulars that went there. So everybody got to know everybody, and everybody got to know what everybody sang. So like, if I would walk in, they would be like, "Oh, Vic, are you going to sing Deacon Blues by Steely Dan this week? Oh, are you going to sing It Would Take a Strong, Strong Man by Rick Astley?" Yes, I'm being serious. I did actually sing that. And oh, are you going to sing something by Elvis? Are you going to sing something by Spin Doctors? They got to know what you sang, and it was cool because it was like a Cheers, where everybody knows your name. So Skip Sergio is a lot of fun. Wonderful memories there. Nothing really stands out except I do remember going there in 1995 for New Year's Eve. They had a karaoke party for New Year's Eve, and you actually paid a cover charge, and they had like an appetizer buffet with the cover charge, and then drinks were pay as you go. No open bar. But and John LeBou was the host of that, as I remember. John also had in the town of Whitman had also picked up another place in downtown Whitman, right in Whitman Center, almost into the town of Abington, which is going to figure into the story a little bit later on. Walter's Pub. And Walter's Pub, again, was another place with great food and great atmosphere. And they even had a stage in their room where they had the karaoke. A nice stage there. And I went there with my girlfriend at the time, many a nights. I don't remember what night of the week it was, but we would go there for karaoke. We were still frequenting Joe T's and the Orchid of Hawaii, but any other night that Joe T's or the Orchid weren't doing karaoke, we'd go out and explore these other places. I also want to, that's really all I got to say about Walter's. I've not a lot of memorable experiences there, except running into, maybe some friends that I knew from different walks of life and various places, and even ran into a friend of my father's one time, which was kind of weird. But I want to retcon, if that's even what I'm trying to say, or I want to retract something I said last week. I said there was two places in Abington I was going to talk about, Cam's Gardens and the Maui. The Maui's actually in Brockton. The place I meant to say in Abington, also on Route 18, was called the Fiji. More on that in a minute, but let's start with Cam's Gardens. Cam's Gardens. Cam's Gardens was unique. It was a Chinese restaurant set in a strip mall. And the guy who ran the karaoke there, his name escapes me for the moment, but you know what? I can still picture this guy in my head. He was supposedly, I don't know, I was never really schooled on this. It was just something I'd heard when the times I had gone there to sing, that he was the road manager for the group Tavares. You might remember Tavares from the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack with More Than a Woman. And they also had hits like Penny for Your Thoughts and Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel, which is interesting because back at the Lakeville Eagles, I used to drink with the guys from Tavares because they were from New Bedford, Massachusetts, but I never knew who their road manager was. And then I heard about this, a few years later. Never asked anybody on it, just took it at face value and said, okay, cool. But anyway, Cam's Gardens was unique because, like I said, it was set in a strip mall, so it was not the biggest place in the world. But the lounge where they had the karaoke, it was cozy, it was intimate, it was almost like a set of MTV Unplugged, if you will, which I thought was pretty cool. And I don't remember any standout singers coming there, like really powerhouse karaoke singers like some other places, but there was a real sense of fun. And everybody really enjoyed themselves when they came to Cam's Gardens. Plus, Chinese food restaurant, can't go wrong. The food was fantastic. It really was. I'd go there, and my girlfriend at the time and some friends of ours that we worked with would go in there and get some appetizers. So it was pretty cool. I remember the crab rangoons were especially very good. Now, also on Route 18, also in the town of Abington, we have the Fiji. Fiji was very unique. I don't even know if it exists anymore because I haven't been up that way in so long. But the Fiji was very unique because the Fiji not only was a Chinese restaurant, but their room where they had the karaoke was essentially a nightclub because it was it didn't have like the typical karaoke setup where you would see the KJ karaoke jockey, you'd see the KJ come in and set their stuff up. They actually had a DJ booth. All the equipment was in-house. And I think they hired out people to work at Fiji. I could be wrong, but I just remember that the equipment was very stationary. And they had a huge dance floor and they had a light show because they would only do karaoke for the first 2 hours of the night from 7 to 9 or 9:15-ish, whatever. And then the rest of the night, it would be called Club Fiji, and they would just play dance music and everybody would dance. And it turned into a dance hall. It turned into a club. And, Fiji's not a place I went to a lot, but I'd go every once in a while. And, I'd go sing some songs. And then when I turned into Club Fiji, I might hang around for a drink or two. And then on the way home, go hit Skip Sergio's or Walter's Pub or one of the other places. Or Cam Gardens. No, I don't think I ever hit Cam Gardens. I think that was further up 18. But going the other direction, I would probably hit one of the places in Whitman. Or maybe hit the Riv. Something like that. As I like to dance. Don't get me wrong. But for me, karaoke was an experience to sing for karaoke. And that's why Fiji was never really on my radar for a lot of years. I think I might have gone there for a year tops. Cam Gardens, probably about the same, but maybe a little longer. But Skip Sergio's was a place that I went to during this time I'm talking about here, 95, 96. And then I would go back there later on in 2001 because they had karaoke once again, but they were also not called Skip Sergio's anymore. Now they were called Pub 18 under new management, new owners. but still good vibe, good karaoke place, good place to hang out and have fun. And I think that's all the places, geographically speaking, in this area that I can remember, because West Bridgewater didn't really have any big, and East Bridgewater. Oh no, I take it back. East Bridgewater did have a place, summer of '95, the Trackside Tavern, which was actually on the East and West Bridgewater line. Yes, believe it or not, East and West Bridgewater, if you're not from Massachusetts, are not just sections of Bridgewater. Those three, Bridgewater, East, and West, are all separate towns. I kid you not. So on the East-West Bridgewater line, near some railroad tracks, the Trackside Tavern. And there was John LeBou, once again, ran the karaoke over there. I think that was like on Wednesday night. Again, we're going back to like 1995, 96-ish. I was already back in New England with some permanence at that point. So, yeah, I think it was maybe about a Wednesday or Thursday night. So John LeBou was back there once again. And great guy. Fantastic guy, and he even DJ'd a house party. Pardon me, that I went to. I went to this house party not knowing he was going to be there doing karaoke, and that was in Bridgewater, not East or West. That was in Bridgewater back in like 1996 or 7. The years kind of run into each other after a while, but that was a lot of fun. Might as well just jump ahead while we're talking about these places. Let's jump ahead to 2001, back at Skip Sergio's, now called Pub 18. New karaoke host there. I don't remember the gentleman's name, but he was very good. Actually, no, I take it back. It was Dave and Kent. It was two guys. They always wear their Hawaiian shirts, and they had like bouffant hairdos, kind of like mine. Middle-aged guys, and they were good singers too, but they did the right thing with karaoke and let everybody else sing. Dave and Kent were really cool. They were doing it there on Friday night. And then on Saturday night, and again, this is jumping up to 2001 now, Saturday nights they were doing the 123 Pub in Rockland. And why was it called the 123 Pub? Not because the 123 Kid hung out there, although that might have been pretty cool. It was on Route 123 in Rockland, which is like a main drag through that area, Rockland, Holbrook, that area of southeastern Massachusetts. Dave and Kent were really cool, and they harmonized a lot. They would do like a lot of Beatles, Dave Clark 5, what's that other group there that did Ferry Cross the Mercy? Jerry and the Pacemakers. They would do a lot of like that 50s, 60s vocal harmonizing. And then, of course, this clown comes in. And now keep in mind, at that time, I didn't have the Elvis haircut going on, actually, at that point, and no sideburns either. I had hair kind of down on my shoulders, and I was always wearing bandanas or do-rags at that time, because now I was wrestling for NWA New England, and I was just kind of trying to keep my wrestling identity separate from my public identity. So I went out to, not really in disguise, but just kind of altered my look a little bit. And people would say when I walked into a place, oh, we thought this guy was going to sing like heavy metal or sing some like, grunge or something. And I'm singing Partridge Family, and I'm singing Chocolate Salty Balls from South Park. And I'm singing Because I Got High by Afro Man. I'm doing all these crazy songs, and people were really kind of put off by that. Not put off, but they were just taken aback. They were really surprised, like, wow, that's really not what we thought we were going to hear coming out of this guy. But it was fun. And it was short-lived, unfortunately. But then I found, in the summer of 2001, I found a place in Halifax on Route 58, I want to say. It's been a while since I've been in that area. And don't ask me the name of the place. I just remember it was in Halifax. And Brenda, the young lady that used to do karaoke over at Skip Sergio's, was now doing the place in Halifax on Friday nights that I went to for probably a span of a month and a half at most. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but just it was kind of a little bit out of my way. I mean, Middleborough, Halifax really aren't too far away from each other, but it wasn't my typical flight pattern. So that one didn't last long, but it was like there was people there that I already knew because they were Brenda's followers, so I already knew them from Sergio's, and that was fine. But yeah, that's really all I have on these kind of like little sporadic places that I would appear at once in a while. I want to keep this one a little bit shorter than last week because we're going to return to Joe T's, we're going to return to the Orchid of Hawaii, and then Billy Disa, my other mentor from the Orchid of Hawaii and the Billy Club, where I talked about a couple episodes ago, was going to put me to work at a couple of more places, as was my main mentor, Carl Bach from KP Productions. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell there to get notifications when I put up new videos. I have it from when this is being recorded. I have a show tomorrow at the Osceola County Council on Aging doing their monthly birthday party. I'll be singing some 50s, 60s, and 70s. I will record a song and put it up on the channel tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. Please feel free to keep it polite, make some comments if you enjoyed the video, or if there's a place or something you want me to talk about during these shows. Thank you all for watching. Be good to yourselves and be good to one another. Or y'all be good now, like I like to say at the end of every episode. Vic signing off and saying so long.